Hello everybody, welcome to Nonstop Tech. I am Doc.
I'm Jerome.
How was it?
Awesome.
Alright, cool. This is a special edition. We're going to talk about some of the things we saw at Macworld and kind of give you a heads up on some of the coverage that will be coming out. We shot a lot of video, we covered a lot of products, but we're going to thin it out. We're going to show you some of the best. There'll be a bunch of interviews and things. This is a quick introduction and kind of a really fast wrap up of what we did. And then we'll get into the more detailed stuff you can look forward to coming up in the podcast in the future.
Some of the stuff we can't share though, stuff we get.
Yeah, some stuff is still secret squirrel. If it happens in San Francisco, it stays in San Francisco unless I put it on Path and Instagram.
So, oh my.
So, all right, anyway, this was your first show?
This is my first one, yeah.
And what'd you think?
It's pretty cool. It was much more relaxed than the E3 was. So people were a better community, I think, than what the E3 was.
I say it all the time. Mac, you always say Mac community. You rarely hear things like PC community or gamer community. They're gamers, whatever, but the community thing is a little bit different. I don't know why it is, but it's something about Mac people. They're always willing to help out. They'll always like tell you everything and share you how they did it. And it's never this like, I know, so you got to pay me so I can tell you kind of thing. It's a little bit different. It's more about sharing.
That's what made it an awesome kind of conference.
Well, I think it started from the hippie culture we originally started with. Anyway.
And the user groups too.
And user groups. All right, so let's get down into some of the cool stuff. Of all of the things that you saw, what were your big takeaways from the show?
Big takeaways?
Not necessarily product, sort of just in general.
I actually thought it was going to be a lot more people. Just it wasn't as crowded as I expected. I mean, you could actually still walk through the place and kind of talk to people. It was very, I mean, this is just from me, from being there for the first time, it was very sociable. You could actually spend time with the people who were displaying their products. They were like super excited to show this stuff to you. It was a really good experience compared to other conferences I've been to.
The numbers this conference were actually up from last conference.
Was it 25,000?
It was over 25,000 this time. So the numbers were definitely up, but the thing that made it look not as busy is the way they spaced things out.
They had the 3 different floors, right?
Yeah, basically 3 different floors. So that helped thin it out, but it made it more functional. And as you become a conference veteran, you'll find out the best place in the conference is in the hallway. We call it the hallway track. Everything goes down in the hallway. You meet the nicest people, the people you listen to on podcasts, and whatever, you get to see them. I was surprised to see, as I'm walking around the floors, hanging out by the 5-Hour Energy booth, good spot to hang out in the conference, I saw people who've seen our podcast. And they're like, hey, I seen you guys. I'm like, really? You're watching? That's kind of funny. And, so it's kind of cool. You run into random people. Speaking of podcasters, everybody who is anybody was there. We met some of the best. We got to hang out with them. Leo is super funny. Ken Ray. Andy Inako. Andy Inako is brilliant. He's one of the funniest guys out there. Adam Christensen. Anyway, the list goes on.
Yeah.
But to me, the big takeaway was the fact that it's always about the people. And a lot of people say, what kind of products? It's only going to be iPad cases and iPhone cases. And actually, there are, but there's a lot more other things to get while you're there. Mostly interacting with individual users and hearing great stories and talking about products, tips, tricks, the whole 9 yards. So you attended a couple of seminars. What did you go to?
I went to Les Poston's, it was called Keynote Magic, and yeah, it was Keynote Magic. The stuff he created with Keynote, it's just, you don't expect Keynote to be able to do that, but he actually made it looked like a page turns, what you'd see in iBook.
Using magic animation.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And it's just amazing stuff. He might be coming down.
Very cool. Very cool. One of my favorite ones was 40 and 40 with Brett Terpster, Merlin Mann, and David Sparks. And most people walked out of there with their mind melted. But they had some really awesome productivity tips. Now, if we're going to pick some product highlights, what are some of your highlights?
What? I'm just going to mispronounce this. Is it Olo?
Olo Clip.
Yeah, the Olo Clip. There we go. I think that was Kickstarter funded too at the beginning.
It was
wasn't
Kickstarter funded at the beginning.
So it's pretty much. I didn't bring it with me.
I have mine.
You have yours?
It's in the room.
So it's a little item clip onto your iPhone, and it provides like a wide-angle lens, a fisheye lens, and a macro lens. But it's just how simple it is, how easy it is just to clip it on and use it. It's just amazing. It's only what, $70 for that?
$70.
It's great.
I think to me one of the coolest products of the show may be from Boinks, and it was stop motion. I stop motion for the iPad. Also, Gene from Smile on My Mac, they were out there showing off PDF pen for the iPad, which you picked up already.
Yeah.
That's going to require a whole show because that's a pretty deep program, but we'll definitely cover that. And actually coming out today, remarks by my buddies at Rito, who I love to meet when I go to Macworld because I talk to them online all the time. They're all the way in the freaking Ukraine, and you get to meet them at the show and hang out. And they were giving away the absolutely sexiest colorware iPad with the Rito logo and red stripes.
Who won that?
It wasn't me.
Wasn't me either.
I actually tweeted Dennis yesterday. I was like, hey, did I win the iPad? And he's like, no. I was like, dang, that thing was so beautiful.
They kept it.
Some of the other cool things, FlexiBits got an update, which I got to talk to Kent in person after, talking to him all the time. I met Fletcher Penny and nearly passed out. I almost had a nerdgasm. Because I'm a Markdown fanatic, and Fletcher was there, and when I met him, Brett Terpstra introduced me, and I was like, oh my God, dude, you saved me life, So, very cool stuff. I got a Smile on My Mac tattoo when I was there. I had text expander tat.
Because it wasn't permanent, right?
Yeah, it wasn't permanent. But another program that I use so much that I figure it deserves this kind of credit. So, we look forward to doing kind of a bigger, more detailed wrap-up at the greenhouse where we're filming right now. So look on our calendar at highgreenhouse.com. You'll see that coming up, or watch the tweets. We'll also break out some of the individual products and we'll talk about them, and you'll be seeing a bunch of videos coming out from Jerome and I as we continue to show you some of the individual products. But Macworld as a whole, if you have the resources and the availability, next year it's going to be the first week in February, last 2 days of January, first week in February. Dates have already been announced. Book it now. Use something that you definitely want to go to.
Find your hotel early too if you can.
Or use Airbnb like we did.
That was awesome.
Very cool. Airbnb was awesome. And it's one of these things that you have to go to conferences to really see what they're about. Reading stuff on the news and watching the media, it doesn't really cover it. They do their best, but it's kind of hard to cover.
Yeah, that lens kind of that's in front of it.
Right.
The colors
and there's so much stuff going on at one time, it's almost impossible to cover the whole thing. Yeah. So that's why you need to go. And we went with a team of 6 and barely put a dent in it. But that dent is still there.
Oh,
and we left the dent.
Still catching up.
So that's a quick wrap up for now. Don't forget you can find us here at Nonstop Tech and nonstophonolulu.com. The podcast, you can find it in the iTunes store under Nonstop Tech, and you can just always, hit us up on Facebook and Twitter.
That's the easiest way to find us.
Names will be down there on the bottom. Anything you want to say before we go?
Like Doc mentioned, go if you can. It was just amazing. It's not like he mentioned. It's not the product; it's the people you meet. And some of the people I met, I never expected to meet them in my life. So.
And parties.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Parties did not happen. We went there to work. See you next time here on Nonstop Tech.